Welcome everybody to this week's hot hatchback. This is the Audi RS3. This is an all singing, all dancing, 400 horsepower, 500 Newton meters, 2.5 litre, 5-cylinder engine hot hatch. This is the pinnacle for me of hot hatchbacks. This is my favourite one. The 2.5 litre 5-cylinder turbocharged engine in this car is an absolute honey. I love it. It is like half a V10 effectively, and it sounds like half a V10. The sound of it is absolutely superb. It is good for 155 miles an hour. You can have it de-restricted. If you have the dynamic pack, you get it up to 180 miles an hour or something, which is fine if you live on an autobahn. But if you live in the UK, I just don't think you need it. It just sounds so creamy and wonderful. I absolutely love this engine. Twinned to this 2.5 litre 5-cylinder turbocharged engine is a 7-speed dual clutch gearbox. In the VW group, the DCT or whatever they call it in this car, 7-speed dual clutch is absolutely spot on. It can be a little bit jerky round town on the throttle, so it's quite difficult to manoeuvre it around, but you get used to it over a week of owning the car. This RS3 will do the 0 to 60 dash in 3.8 seconds. The brakes on this Audi RS3, this one's got steels, you can have ceramics on it. Up front they are 375 millimeters, rear they're 310 millimeters, and they're 6-piston calipers, and they have plenty of stopping performance. The tyres on this car, you can get it with Trofeo Rs if you want to go on track days and want a really, really sticky tyre, but for all year round, this one is on Bridgestone Potenzas and they feel fantastic. The front end on this car is absolutely superb. It feels so playful and darty. I don't know whether they've changed the steering rack on it, but from the S3 and the normal A3, but it feels really, really sharp. The steering is really sharp and the front end feels incredible. This car feels so much more playful than the outgoing RS3, which was still a really good car, and I nearly bought one. I loved them because that engine was fantastic and it made such a great noise, and it's such a great engine. But this one, the ride is better. It's somehow more supple. It feels more expensive, the ride on this car, than the previous one. The last one was a little bit bone shaking. This one is definitely not. It feels a lot better. You've got all the modes in this car that you can go through. So there's an RS mode now on the steering wheel, which is great. You can have individual mode, which I haven't set up, so it's all aggressive, and then it's the sort of middle steering weight that you can have. So there's 3 steering weights, the middle one. And you go into performance mode, it comes up saying stabilization control, ESC sport, warning, restricted stability, which basically just makes this car really, really playful. So 50% of the torque can be sent to the rear, and this car will do big skids. It will do drifts. But on a B road like we're on now, the front end is absolutely planted. And there is so much performance. There is plenty of performance for UK roads. You do not need any more power than this car can offer. It's absolutely bloody brilliant. And the damping is really great, and it feels playful, it feels light and agile and nimble underneath you. It's a really, really good car, and I like it so much more than I thought I would. In this Kyalami green that it's in, which I'm sure is an expensive option, it's a bit of a Marmite sort of car. What happens is you get young lads that love it. You get older gentlemen that hate you in it and sort of tell you to slow down even if you're doing 30 miles an hour, which is absurd. But it's just one of those things. Coming down the M4 yesterday, back from Goodwood, there was a Jack Fest thing or something like that going on, and everyone was trying to race me. It was ridiculous. It's a very, very, very loved or hated car, but I think it's loved more than it's hated because it's an RS product. It's super, super special and super, super cool. The exterior of the car. Now, I loved the outgoing model. I thought it was an exceptionally good looking car. I think it looked aggressive in the right areas, the arches, etc, etc. This one has gone a little bit further. Has a new front end, which I think looks exceptionally aggressive, and I love the chiseled lights and all that kind of stuff. It looks fantastic. It's got a lot of side skirts, you've got black wing mirrors. This car starts at £51,000. This one is just a smidge underneath £60,500, which is a lot of money. But when you look at it, that this car is half the price of a fully spec'd up Audi RS6, it makes this car look like a really, really good buy to me. It's just as fun and it feels just as fast. I would actually say it's more fun than an RS6 because it just feels a lot more adjustable. Obviously, another way you can tell this car apart over its little brother, the S3, is the big oval exhaust, which that sonorous, beautiful noise comes out of. It's just fantastic. It makes you smile all the time, and I end up driving it around in manual, the 7-speed gearbox, just on the paddles, which have a really nice resistance to them. This new Audi RS3 has a new E differential in the rear, and it's bloody brilliant. I tell you, in performance mode, when it says that stabilization is off, etc, etc, you can get the car really moving around underneath you. I'm not such a fan in the performance mode, so you go to the drive select. It can be a bit convoluted how you get into sport and all that kind of stuff. So you press RS and you've got these lovely dials in front of you. This cockpit around you is such a nice place to be, great place to sit. I find the seats on long journeys a little bit uncomfortable because they're quite hard, but these RS seats are lovely and they've got this sort of gorgeous leather and the sort of cross-hatching is really nice, but they are a little bit uncomfortable for long journeys, I would say. When you press the RS mode, you get the new dial interface. Now, the new dial interface is, the revs come towards you, which is a little bit strange. I don't really know why they've chose to do that. They used to have a big, lovely one sort of red counter in front of you. Now, they've got these ones that come towards you. There's two of them. And they come towards you and you change when it gets closer to you. I'm not such a fan of those, but I'm sure they're things that you get used to over time, and I'm sure in the next guys it'll be there as well and you'll be used to it and you'll love it then. Added to the looks of the car, obviously this one being an RS model is 25mm lower than the normal A3. So it looks so much more aggressive on the road, and obviously you've got bigger tyres, you've got bigger wheels, you've got bigger everything. It's just super aggressive and feels fantastic fun. The interior of this car, you've got this sort of fake carbon fibre over here, which is all right. I think it looks quite expensive and looks quite nice. It's an expensive feeling cockpit. The big display works really nicely. The Audi infotainment system is absolutely fantastic. The cockpit is lovely. It feels really driver focused, which is really nice. You've got these two lovely pods pointing, blowing cooling air over me all the time. It's really, really nice. It's very, very minimalist. The buttons are exactly where you'd expect them to be. It's very Audi and there's lovely tactile feeling towards the click on the buttons. It's a very, very nice place to be. And I've done a few hundred miles in this over the week, and it's been a really, really good car to be in. Miles per gallon, I've probably only managed to sort of tickle it up to about 28 miles to the gallon, which I've been driving it for a week. You'd get more than that if you drove it every day, because obviously I've been driving it for a week and I've been driving it not hard per se, but I've been driving it a little bit more spiritedly than if you owned it for months after months after months. It would be a little bit different. You get not bored of it, but you wouldn't drive maybe quite with such a heavy right foot as I have. The livability of this car, if you want to have it and you've got kids, etc, etc, the livability would be brilliant. There's plenty of room in the back. The seats are quite big, so it impedes your view out of the rear. The boot size, it's 100 litres smaller than a normal A3 at 281 litres. I'm not really quite sure how they've managed to do that. So if you are in the marketplace for a fun, fast, four-wheel drive, usable, on a daily basis, hot hatchback, I can highly recommend the new Audi RS3, because it is brilliant. I've loved my week in this little car. It really is fantastic, and I've got a proper hankering after one, and I don't get that very often. Cars go back and I don't miss them. This one, I think I'm going to really miss it, because it's so damn good. It's so fun. It's fast, but it's adjustable. And you'd have to be a proper prat to stuff one because it's so, not safe, but it feels so, I don't know, it feels grown up, but also with a like, it feels like someone that would have a really good job, but on the weekends gets really pissed and has a really good time. It feels like one of those people. It's fantastic. Go and buy one if you're thinking about it.